All right, we're good. All right, guys, welcome to the 40th Ask Me Anything live stream. And today's stream is going to be a special one because next week is Christmas. Or if you don't, I guess, celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, or whatever. It's basically just my favorite time of the year. It's time for giving, it's time for family, love, and spending time with people that you really care about. So if you're watching the replay of this live stream, I'm not going to be here next week over the Christmas holidays. I'm going to be spending time with family. So I wanted to do a stream today. And in spirit of the Christmas theme, I'm wearing my super ugly Christmas sweater. Yo, Kevin, what's up? What's up, bro? How you doing? You like my sweater? When you hear the description of an ugly sweater, I figured, wouldn't the ultimate ugly sweater be complete contrasting colors from green and red? So I went for the maroon, mustard, bright yellow. So I don't think it gets much uglier than this. But yeah, so just gonna be a super chill stream. If you're new to the channel, I do these live streams roughly twice every month, or I try to do them bi-weekly, but life gets in the way, things happen, but I try to at least get in 2 per month, which are usually on Saturdays around noon Eastern Standard Time. And this gives me a chance to connect with you guys and answer questions in a live setting. That's what AMA stands for, right? Ask Me Anything. And it's something that I talk about this a lot, but I always wished my favorite YouTubers would live stream so that I could ask them questions in the moment. And so that was something that I've always wanted from other creators. So I figured why not take my own advice and just have a live stream of my own. So that's where this whole idea stemmed from. And it was kind of like an experiment, and it's grown to be something that I really love and thoroughly enjoy. Because I love the communications and I guess maybe the camaraderie that we have during these streams, because there's a lot of interesting topics that come up, and it's just something that I thoroughly enjoy. I don't think it's ugly. You don't think so? It's it's actually the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you can see here. It's like the ugly sweater for the NBA team, the Cavs. So yeah. Do you celebrate Christmas, Kevin? I'm super excited for next week. So usually what we do is me, my wife, the kids, and my brother and his girlfriend, we head up north to my parents' cottage, and we always spend about usually 4 or 5 days up there, depending on where the holidays lie. Now this year, I think Christmas was on Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday. It's something weird. So then we will get Monday and Tuesday off as Lou days. So I'll get a nice 4-day weekend. And it's something that is very special to me and my family. It's like a tradition that we have to just, spend some time together with the people you love. And it's great because this is a time of giving, right? And you think about what we do as human beings throughout the entire year. We're hustling, we're grinding, we're working, we're chasing the dollar, we're in school or university. We're always grinding, we're always doing something and trying to achieve our goals for ourselves. And that those may be for selfish reasons or in our own personal interest, which is fine. But Christmas, it gives you this time where it's about other people, right? It's about buying gifts for others. And there's something really genuine about that I really enjoy, because it's the one time of the year where I'm not just focused on myself. All year round, I'm focused on my goals, my creative goals, my business goals, where I want to be, how much money I want to make. I'm always striving for something, right? It's almost like you're stuck in the rat race like everyone else, right? And this is why I really enjoy this time of the year. It gives me a chance to sort of sit back and reflect on the year and also get ready for the new year, right? New Year is a great time where you can boost your motivation if you are someone that enjoys New Year's resolutions. And I'm someone who has I'm not sure if I'm a sucker for New Year's resolutions, but I'm one that, in the beginning of the year, I always try to, set new goals and challenges for myself. So, hey, Forrest, what's up? You like my sweater? So funny. I had fun making the most ugly thumbnail that I could. But yeah, so aside from that, I can't wait for next week. Like I said, it's a time for family, time for giving, and also it's like a time for reflection, right? Because it's the end of the year. And I'm someone who is big on setting goals, where I wish I did a better job at writing them down on a month-to-month basis, but I usually have a lot of yearly goals for myself, whether it's health, happiness, wealth, or just my personal life, right? I'm always trying to do better every single year. And I think for 2022, I probably fell short in terms of my creative goals. I remember at the beginning of the year, I wanted to do a podcast like every single week. I wanted to do a live stream every single week. And, a lot of those things were unrealistic or unattainable, and maybe I was just being a little bit too ambitious. And I think that's okay, because it lets me reflect on my goals that I made in the past that were made in poor taste. And so now I can try to figure out what's a more realistic schedule for this live stream, what's a more realistic schedule for the podcast, right? So yeah, there's lots of things going on, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Do you remember when clowns were a thing back in 2016? Clowns? When you say the word clown, I immediately think of, what's his name? Pennywise? That clown from the movie It? That's like the first thing I think of when clowns. I remember I watched that movie when I was a little kid, and it scared the shit out of me. Imagine like a clown that lives in the sewer and he kidnaps kids. That was like a terrifying movie for me. And it wasn't the newer one. Like there's an older version of it, which I wonder if it holds up. Probably not, because the CGI is going to be atrocious. It's going to be super cringy. But yeah, that was like a big movie in my childhood, that movie It. I think it came out in the 80s. But let's Google that. It movie. Because the new one was like in 2018 or something like that. Let's see. It. Okay, 2017. So that was the new one. Where is the old one? Oh, the novel is from 1986. Wow. But what about the older movie? When did the older movie come out? Because it'd have to be after the book, right? Oh, 1990? So it looks like 1990. Yeah, so I was 6 years old. Like, that's a terrifying movie for a 6-year-old. Yeah, It... Let me see. Is there going to be... It 2017? I just want to see what the reviews were for this movie. I remember watching it and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. There's also that, like, nostalgia factor. And also anything from Stephen King is just super good. Wow, why is the Wikipedia for this movie so long? Oh my gosh. Okay, forget that. So anyways, Have you seen the recent cancellation on Iman Gadzhi? Oh, really? That guy got canceled? Really? From where? From YouTube? Gosh, man. Oh, man, here we go. Okay, so he has a video from 4 days ago titled, "I'm sorry." Wait, so, what happened, Kevin? What do you mean he got canceled? From where? Yo, Batiste! What's going on, Batiste? Happy early Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Good to see you, or good to talk to you. Yo, it's a big day for you tomorrow, Batiste. Yeah, big day. Yeah, it's going to be your boy Mbappe and Griezmann versus Messi. You must be excited. Oh yeah, I've been really watching this year's World Cup. I'm not someone who follows football that closely. I'm more of like a basketball person, but something about the World Cup just happening once every 4 years, and after the group stages it becomes single elimination. It just makes it so exciting, and so I can't help but to be a fan and watch. So I've been really following this World Cup at Qatar, especially since this was the second time ever that Canada actually qualified. I think we qualified once in like 1986 or something, and we went 0-3, didn't win a single game in the group stage. I don't even think we scored a goal. So Canada qualifying for the World Cup this year was huge. It was huge for us. And we did score one goal, even though I believe Morocco scored on our own net, so we were credited with a goal. But unfortunately, we still ended up going 0-3, weren't able to get a single point, which was a huge disappointment, as our country has sort of come a long way when it comes to football or soccer or whatever you want to call it, because Canada is like all about hockey, right? Here, everything is hockey, and basketball is probably a close second. And it was interesting because I guess I have two teams from my parents' background in terms of like countries I could root for, which is Italy, maybe a third team, Austria, but they didn't qualify. Well, neither did Italy. Italy didn't qualify either, and Japan. So Italy not qualifying definitely sucked. That was rough. But I was watching Japan. They did pretty good. They were super exciting. And yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm super excited for the World Cup final. Batiste will say I'm here for the drama. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, Batiste, man, I'm excited for you, bro. I'm excited. To be perfectly honest, like I would love to see Messi like win the World Cup, because it's like the one thing that he's missing. But also, man, if France were to win again, like not back to back years, what would you call it? Back to back cups, right? Because Mbappe, he was on the 2018 team, right? When they beat Croatia, I believe. So it'd be super crazy if France went back to back champs. That'd be super cool. I feel like it's going to be a great final. Like, you couldn't really ask for much better than that. Like what are the teams you'd want to see in the final? Argentina, Brazil, France, Spain, or Portugal? Like, those are probably like the most exciting teams that you'd want to see in a final. And Morocco was like a huge surprise, but I don't think anyone would have wanted to see Morocco in the final, right? So it's I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Have you read The Way of the Superior Man? No. The Way of the Superior Man? What is this about? The Way of the Superior Man, how a man can grow spiritually while passionately tussling with what's the word? Tussling with the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. Today, men of all ages continue to struggle with these universal challenges, and the practical insights found in this book will help each one of us to give the gifts we were born to give. No, never read this book before. Do you recommend it, Kevin? Is it a good read? I see you representing that Cleveland Cavaliers. Yo, Brian, what's up, bro? Yo, you like LeBron's old team? It's the only ugly sweater I got. Hamza keeps recommending that book in his videos. You see, like, I think this is where Hamza's message and Hamza's work doesn't cross-pollinate with my message, where Hamza's really been getting deep, not just into masculinity for men and building up men, but also like his channel has a lot of dating advice, I guess you would say, for young men who are, seeking a relationship. And, obviously when you're younger, like in your 20s, maybe you're in your teens, right? Those type of things are really important, right? So of course, books on dating advice or how to talk to girls or how to talk to men or women or whatever, it's definitely in his wheelhouse. And for my channel, I have no dating advice to give. I'm a family man. I have 2 kids, so I'm way past that stage in my life. And I think those type of books for me to read, it probably wouldn't give me too much value, right? Because it all depends on where you are in your current situation. So I think, it's probably a great book for Hamza's audience to read and recommend. But for my demographic, I guess you would say, I'm aiming towards the more 22 and up age range, I guess you would say, where I focus more on, meaning, finding your purpose, work ethic, discipline, how to be successful, how to be happy, how to manage your anxieties, those type of things. And I know that relationship advice is huge in the self-improvement world, but it's a topic that I have no interest in covering, to be perfectly honest. I remember when Kyrie hit that 3-pointer in the 2016 finals. Oh man, did you see Kyrie last night? He crushed the Raptors. I think he traveled, to be perfectly honest. Like, he shuffled his feet pretty bad, but he drilled the 3 at the top of the key. Was it on Fred? I think it was on Fred VanVleet, just like right in his face, and beat us at the buzzer, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I got some Christmas music going. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Let me know. Christmas in Detroit. Oh, how was Detroit, Brian? Pistons. I think you guys lost to Sacramento, right? I saw some of the snaps. Detroit basketball sucks, bro. Team's so bad. Oh man. Yeah, yesterday, Raptors lost by 3. Kyrie at the buzzer. That sucked. The 2016 finals, that was Cleveland and Golden State, right? Where Kyrie hit that 3 over Curry. That was an amazing shot. Do you think LeBron can win another final? As the best player, no. He would have to be like the second best or third best player. I don't like LeBron. LeBron is my age. Like, me and LeBron are born 1 month apart, I believe. 1984. So like, he's getting old, man. And he definitely can't carry a team anymore like he used to. Can he win a championship with his current Laker roster as constructed, I'd say no. Highly unlikely. But if LeBron were to play a lesser role, right, and be like the second best player or third best player on the team, because even now with Anthony Davis, right, it's like LeBron pretty much still has to be the best player because AD, again, he got injured. Anthony Davis is always injured. He's like super unreliable, right? So I feel like LeBron, he can win another title, but he's going to have to be like that Robin role. So, which I think he can do in old age, but he's going to need a brand new roster, a new team or something. Or maybe he go back to Cleveland. Have you bought all your presents? Pretty much. I bought almost all of them except for one. I do have a Secret Santa that I do with my cousins and my brother every year, where I think there's about 10 of us now. And we use this thing on Facebook where it randomly generates a person that you buy a gift for, and then we have like a $40 limit or something. And so every year we do that where you just buy one gift for one person. And I still have to buy that gift because we don't do the exchange until January. But aside from that, I pretty much bought all my stuff. It's super easy with Amazon. Just buy everything on Amazon. The experience was good, but the game sucked, especially since Cade is out. Oh yeah, Cade injured his shin or leg or something. He's gone for the year, right? I remember I read he had to get surgery. That sucks. But maybe it's like a blessing in disguise for Detroit. Maybe they can just stink it up, tank, get that 11 or 14% lottery odds or whatever it is for being in the bottom three, and drafting Victor Wembanyama, or however you pronounce his name. So that might be a good team. Yo, Red, what's up, Red? Happy early Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Red. How you doing? I had to do the Christmas stream 1 week early because I'm going to be gone next week for about 4 or 5 days. So I had to bust out the ugly Christmas sweater, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, I'm liking this basketball conversation. This is fun. I love talking basketball. The problem is I get too obsessed with some topics like basketball where I don't want it to like sabotage my YouTube channel. Because I have like, if I had to rank my interests, like self-improvement is pretty much at the top. But near that is videography and the NBA. Those are probably like my 3 big passions. And then somewhere below that is StarCraft and poker, I guess you would say. It's like super weird interest. But yeah, I love anything basketball. It was like my second passion or one of my first passions in life, pretty much. Like I remember when I was a little kid, I wanted to be in the NBA, which obviously is an unrealistic dream for a mildly athletic boy who's 5'8" at the time, right? It's like you have no chance, but it's fun to dream, right? Merry Christmas to all. Yeah, man, you too, bro. You too. I wanted to do a Christmas stream, but next Saturday is the 24th, and I'm going to be away on the 23rd all the way to the 27th, so I'm going to be gone. So I wanted to just, do this early and kind of have this special stream to where, I can reflect on the year too, because this is also important for me, right? Just, being thankful for other people, being thankful for your friends, family, and also like thankful for this like community that we're building here on YouTube. I always love talking to you guys during the stream. I always love catching up and talking about new ideas and just what's going on in the world. It's a lot of fun, and surprisingly, it's hopefully made me a way better communicator, I guess you would say, because it sort of puts me on the spot like live stream. I don't know if I think I've talked about this before, but like live stream is so difficult in comparison to YouTube videos or podcasting, because like podcasting, if you run out of something to say, you can, or at least this is what I do. I'll just like ask the person that's on the podcast with me. I'll ask them a question, right? So it fills a void where I've like run out of ideas or topics or opinions. So I just like ask my guest the question, and then we can go back and forth in the conversation, and it gives me time to think of something, right? And then YouTube is obviously the easiest. You just talk, record, and you can edit out all your mistakes and all the times where you don't know what to say, right? And like my YouTube videos, they're a mess before I edit them. It's like, it'll be like a 40-minute file of me blabbering, stopping, pausing, thinking, because like I've kind of gone away from scripting. In the past, I used to script everything word for word, so I knew exactly what I was going to say before I hit record, whereas now I just hit record and I go, type of thing. And so the way I communicate on a YouTube video, it's very polished because of video editing software, right? So in terms of how I communicate, I don't know if that's a detriment to me in any way, but I know for sure the podcast and the live stream has improved my ability to speak without a doubt, right? I've become a lot more comfortable, I guess you would say, in a live setting. That anxiety, I don't think it ever completely goes away. There's always that moment where you're like, oh man, I don't want to stream today. I don't want to hit live. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to talk about. But that fear and anxiety, it's good for you, right? It's good for you to do difficult things. And it's something that I try to strive towards, right? To force myself to do the things that make me uncomfortable, because I know they will make me a better person, or they'll make me a better communicator, right? And these are the things that I just enjoy. My dad is 5'9" and my mom is 5'2.5". Right now I'm 5'8". Do you think I can still grow taller? I turned 18 a month ago. You're 18. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can still grow, right? Isn't there? There's tons of stories of dudes that are 19 that can still grow. I'm sure you're probably near your peak. Like maybe you'll grow 5'9" or 5'10", maybe the same height as your dad. I think your parents were similar height to my parents. My dad is 6 foot. My mom is like 5 foot, I think. And I'm 5'10". But I think I was like 5'8" when I was like 17. And then I maybe grew like 2 more inches in high school. And that was pretty much about it, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can grow a little bit taller. Maybe an inch or 2. It's tough to say. I have no idea. Yeah, that fear, anxiety is a primal thing. It's the reason why we evolved and progressed to where we are today. Yeah, it's true. It's part of that. It's like it's ingrained in us, right? It's how people survived and people stayed safe, right? Is to be fearful of things. And it's also like your brain, like trying to protect you, right? It's your brain realizing what's going on, and it's either you adapt and evolve and survive, or you die. Like that's what times were like way back in the day. And I think about this a lot. I think about like the human condition and like our genetics and the way we come up. And there's always like back in the day, like tribal times, like hunter-gatherer type times, like you couldn't survive on your own. Like you had to have a community or a group, right? Because you needed people to band together to hunt an animal or collect wild berries and fruits for food. Like that's the only way that you could get sustenance, right? Is like having a group of people working together, and also like building a shelter and protecting the community from other tribes or other animals. Like there was so much going on. If you were solo, if you're like isolated, like you just couldn't survive in those times. So I think deep down, human beings, we always have a need for community, right? There's always like this desire to find a tribe of people or a group. And I think that's just ingrained in all of us, right? And it's strange because nowadays you can be pretty isolated, right? Like you can, I guess you don't have to work a job in an office, but like say you have like a remote job, for example, right? Say you have a job where you work from home, you can pretty much get all your needs as a human being met without having to like live with other people. Oh my gosh, someone's moving chairs or something above me. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But yeah, like nowadays it's so easy to survive. Like you can get your food delivered, right? You don't have to go outside. Everything is safe and easy. But I still feel like at the end of the day, there's like this desire for community, right? This desire to find other people. And I think that's important, right? For happiness. Or at least it is for me, right? Like if not, then I'd just be lonely. Like if I didn't have like a group of friends that I hang out with or trust or talk to, or if I didn't have this like YouTube community that we're talking about like self-improvement ideas, I in all honesty, I'd probably be lonely, right? Because I feel like we need camaraderie, right? We need other people. We need to be part of a tribe or community. And in some sense, I've seen this in a negative light where people seek community in echo chambers through politics or religion. And those types of communities they can be kind of tough, right? Because then you're getting into these like ideological bubbles that can be, in my opinion, quite negative. So I try to stay away from those types of community, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. They're changing the feng shui upstairs. Yeah, yeah. Like where my office is. Like this is the corner of my basement, and right above me is the kitchen. The kitchen table is right here, and behind me is where the living room is. So there's all these furniture. So I guess someone is moving stuff around. But yeah, community is important, even if it's just family. Yeah, it's huge, man. It's huge. I read a book about what book was it? I think it was called Tribes by Seth Godin. And it sort of talked about how, human beings, we want to be part of the tribe, right? And it's like this acceptance of a tribe is something that makes us happy, right? And gives us meaning to our lives. And it's so important, I think. And this is why I feel bad for, people that are left out, or people that are bullied, or people that, don't have many friends, right? Because they probably feel like they're lost and alone. They probably feel like they don't have a sense of community, or they haven't found their tribe yet, or they haven't found those friends they can talk to, right? And I'm someone who, I think about this, and I'm extremely lucky, right? I'm really fortunate to grow up throughout my life, every stage of my life, I've always had someone close to me, whether it was my parents or my brother or my cousins, or my friends in elementary school, my friends in high school, friends in college, right? And even just maintaining those relationships after school, like after post-secondary education, throughout my 20s, like I maintained those relationships pretty much my whole life. And I, built these small tribes of people that I trust, right? And sometimes if you don't think about it that way, you don't realize how lucky you are to have those type of people in your life, right? Because there's a lot of people in the world that are surrounded by negativity, or they grew up in a terrible environment or terrible city, right? And there's just like, it's just unlucky, right? It's like a roll of the dice. It's pretty much like everyone gets dealt a random hand of cards, right? And if you were lucky enough to grow up in like a first world country where you have parents, right, and you're not homeless, like you're living a great life, right? But if you don't think about that and be grateful for what you have, you lack that perspective, right? And this is something I never thought of before. I always like took advantage of how lucky I was to grow up in Canada, in a developed country with both my parents, loving parents that worked like and had a job. Like we never had money. Like we were never rich as a family. We were probably middle to lower class, I guess you would say somewhere in the middle. Like we had food, we had electricity, we had heating, we had lights, we had a car, right? We could go around and do stuff. So all my needs as a human being were met. Do we have money for luxurious vacations and Nintendo? Like, no, I didn't, right? We didn't have those things. I had to save up, work hard, to buy a PlayStation or to buy my first Super Nintendo or whatever it is that I wanted as a kid. Like I had to earn it. And I think I'm grateful for that too, because I didn't grow up as a spoiled child who was just given everything. Because a lot of those kids, they turn out to be weak human beings because they never went through any adversity. They never struggled. They never worked for anything, right? So I think it's important in one sense to, think about your advantages, right, that you have. And especially like now is a perfect time to think about this stuff, right? It's the end of the year. The holidays are coming, like what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? Like I'm so grateful that I have a house, a family, good health, right? Good health is another thing that's too, where I don't have any diseases, or at least I don't know of any. I don't have any disabilities from where I can't walk or move around. I have enough money to buy food, pay for internet, right? Can I go and buy an expensive sports car? No, like I can't afford that. Can I go on a luxurious vacation somewhere? Probably can't do that either, right? But everything else, pretty much, I can afford reasonably well. And so these are things that I'm grateful for, because you won't appreciate them unless you force yourself to think about that, right? And this idea has really been manifesting with me lately, because I've been looking at the world, and when you see what's been going on in places like Iran and Qatar when it comes to free speech and women's rights and gay rights and all these really messy topics, and even things like Russia, Ukraine, like just think about like all the places in the world that are in turmoil, right? Like what if I grew up there, right? Like what if I was living in a war-torn city right now, right? It'd be terrible. Whereas, I'm sitting here in my cozy office studio, right? It really gives you perspective. And this is why I force myself to think about this stuff, because if you don't, it almost like slips your mind and you take all those things for granted. And then, then you get anxious over like the dumbest things. You get anxious over people who cut you off in traffic, or you get mad because, the traffic light turned red when you wanted to get to the mall early or something trivial, right? It's like you lose perspective on your life when you take things you have that are good for granted. And I try to remind myself, maybe not on a daily basis, but at least weekly basis, or whenever I have time to reflect, right? Like these are important feelings, thoughts, and ideas to think about, right? And gratitude, right? It's It's everything, man, because it will humble you as a human being, right? It will help you manage your ego. It will help you manage your emotions and the way you think and the way you care and talk to other people, right? It's super important. Exactly. All of this could go away in an instant. Appreciate everything that you have. Yeah, that well said. That's exactly what it is, right? And this is what I like about the holidays, right? This is what I like about the end of the year and Christmas and all this type of stuff. You know, I get to take a weekend away from my needs as a human being, right? And we go throughout the whole year grinding, trying to climb the corporate ladder, trying to obtain wealth, right? Try to build assets or whatever financial goal or career goal you have. Like we're always like working towards something for ourselves, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I am someone who is, very pro-capitalist. I'm pro, get after it, and discipline. I'm supportive of all those ideas, right? But I think having a time or a moment where it's all about selflessness, where it's not about you anymore, it's about other people, right? It's about getting your parents something nice, getting your brother or sister something nice, maybe sharing a meal with your cousins or family or your group of friends from college, right? It's that stuff is awesome because it's not about the self anymore. It's about other people. And that's what I love, right? Because as a child, when you're like a little kid, maybe you're like 8 years old, and all you can think about is like, what am I going to get for Christmas? Like, what is Santa Claus going to buy for me or bring for me? Like, what gifts am I going to unwrap under the tree? And as a child, all you think about is me, 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 me. Like, what am I going to get? And as you age and mature, you realize that the best part of gifts is not the receiving, it's the giving. And that's sort of like how I feel. It's like I feel great, when I buy someone a gift and, they really like it, or maybe they really needed it. And you see that sparkle in their eyes or that enjoyment. And it feels good, right? It feels good to help other people and be kind and compassionate and share. And even when I look at some of the best content creators on YouTube, like look at Mr. Beast, right? That dude just gives away money. He changes people's lives. He's so generous, right? With what he does. There's so much charity, right? That comes from the heart. And that type of stuff, it probably makes him feel, right here, it probably makes him feel so good, right? That feeling that you get when you're doing something good for the world, it's awesome. I love that type of stuff. That's why I don't see anyone passing that guy as the best YouTuber, in all honesty. Like when I think about like the best YouTubers, like Mr. Beast, he's like on like another level. And I love watching his content. I love like the philanthropy side of what he does. Like I remember in the pandemic, he started that Mr. Beast burger where mom and pop shops that didn't really have a good curbside pickup menu or delivery menu, they could order Mr. Beast products and then they could make Beast Burger and then have them delivered with Uber Eats or DoorDash or like curbside pickup or whatever. And it helped a lot of small business owners, kind of keep their, shop afloat or keep their restaurant open throughout the pandemic, right? And just stuff like that, just helping other people. It's so cool. It's awesome. And even just watching it as like a viewer, like you feel good on the inside, right? And it's like giving back, giving back is like is huge. It's something that I wish I could do more of, right? But also at the same time, it's like, I try to share my experiences, share my thoughts and ideas like on this YouTube channel, on the live stream, and on the podcast. in an authentic way, and one that, it doesn't cost anything. And that's what's great about YouTube. It's like there is no paywall for entry to this type of stuff, right? Like you don't have to pay a monthly subscription just to watch like a YouTube channel or show. And it's something that I love about all this content creation stuff. His paywalls are an interesting thing. I think this is why I haven't created a course yet. I know that there's been a couple of times people have asked me to create like a Skillshare course and sort of like share my opinions on a certain subject or topic. And sure, that'd be kind of cool. It's definitely a great business move to make, like creating online courses. That's probably one of the most profitable things you can do as an entrepreneur or as a content creator. It's just like, man, people are just, they love buying these online courses. I guess because if you buy a course that's like $100, right, and you learn like a ton of information, when you compare that to say like a university course, which costs like thousands and thousands of dollars, like in hindsight, the $100 Skillshare course or whatever it costs, it's like not that much, right? When you think about it that way. So maybe that's why online courses are so popular. But I think I want to keep doing what I'm doing now, where everything is free. Like the only paywall, it's not even a paywall. The only barrier are like the ads that YouTube shows, right? But those aren't even too bad because as a content creator, you can enable that button that allows people to skip the ads, right? So some of them you can skip them. Well, what is this, like EDM Christmas? Hold on, let me change this song. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so like on the YouTube channel, there are YouTube ads, so I have those turned on, but I also turn on the ones where you can like click the skip button, right? And aside from that, everything else is free, right? All this stuff is free. And it's like, I don't know if I'm biased because I have this kind of hate. I mean, not hate, that's a strong word. What's a better word? I despise the college systems and universities in North America. I really despise them. Like you're charging young people tens of thousands of dollars and putting them into student debt for like online education, like online courses. Like a lot of universities, they were like, their classes became online, right? Like Zoom. Like, did you at least give them like a reimbursement for the tuition, like discount? Because isn't like the tuition cost like you have to go to the brick and mortar facility or building to go in the classroom, the lecture hall to get your education? Like, isn't that what you're paying for? But now if the classes are Zoom for like, I don't know, like an Ivy League school, you still have to pay the full tuition. And they're like, yeah, you do. So I'm like, that's kind of crazy, man. More people are realizing they can just learn stuff online than going to a 4-year, myself included. Yeah, that's me too. Like, if you think about like what I'm doing with videography, content creation, learning how to edit videos, or even like learning about microphones and sound and lighting, like all this stuff that I've learned, it's from YouTube. And it's also from just trial and error, right? I didn't go to film school. I didn't go to some videography school or take some like lessons, like none of that. It was all almost self-taught, right? And it's like the amount of information that's available just for free everywhere. It's like, it's unbelievable, right? You can get like a full education just online if you're willing to put in the work and time, right? And so for me, I was willing to do that, right? It's been, let's say, it's been about 4 years now, 3 or 4 years of a lot of reading, a lot of studying, watching a lot of videos, about cameras, about live streams, about public speaking, about sound design, video editing, all this type of stuff, right? And like, you don't have to go to photography school anymore, right? You don't have to go to film school anymore for this type of stuff. And I think it's awesome. Even in France, if you are not doing alternate training school, what's that? Where working is a part of your degree, you pay so much. I would have paid 10,500 euros a year, and it is my 5th year of study. Oh my gosh. Yikes. See, like, I do believe that, like, not all universities and colleges are bad. I get this like bad rap for being a hater of education, but that's not what this is. I am someone I'm pro education. Like, I'm pro learning. I'm pro reading. Like, I'm very supportive of education, right? But I think that the previous way that our parents did it and the previous way that society did it, where the only route to education was through the school system, that's become obsolete. Where now you can go the school system. You can go the college way. You can go the university way. You can go the online learning way. You can go to a trade school, an apprenticeship. Like, I feel like your path towards ultimate education, there's a multitude of options available now. It's not just one way anymore. And so I've had a lot of my friends, I guess, criticize me. They're like, "Oh, why are you such a hater of school, of education, university? Like, education is so important." I'm like, "No, you're getting my points like misconstrued. I'm not a hater on education. Like, I'm very, very pro learning. It's just like, I guess my thoughts and ideas kind of get convoluted in like these live streams and rants that I go on. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, man, like going into $100,000 in student debt when you're like 18. Is that a good idea? Like, do you have to do that? I don't, like, to me, that just seems like financial suicide, right? Now, I feel like those are probably good decisions for someone who really wants to be a doctor or a neurosurgeon or a lawyer, like something very, very specific, right? Like, it's probably like the best way you can do it, because there's no other way to become a PhD, right? Or you want to be a doctor, you want to pass the bar, you pretty much have to go through that school system. So fair enough. That's fine. But like, if you want to be a macroeconomics major, is it worth it? Right? That's where I'm like, it's probably not worth going into massive amounts of student debt for something like that, right? Hold on, let me catch up on the comments. Not gonna lie, I only went to university to finesse the financial aid and save it. My degree is not completely useless, but I gained more experience through actual work. Pro-education, anti-scammy academic institutions. See, like, the university thing is tough because if you really know like what you want to do, like if you're like, I love computer engineering and you want to get a computer engineering degree, no problem. I'm on board for all that type of stuff. There's also a benefit to university to where if you're not sure what you want to do, but so you just figure that getting a degree is worth it, there are benefits to where when you do enter the workforce in the corporate world, there'll be a lot of these like higher paying jobs that require a 4-year bachelor's degree as a requirement for the job. So in that sense, it is very beneficial for you in those certain situations, right? But I guess the drawback is, what if you don't need it, right? If you don't, like, I have a friend who went to university, got a degree, right? Then got a job at like a corporation, but his degree they never needed it for anything. at his job. It was never required. It was never required for him, right? So in his situation, it's completely useless. But for other people, they might like get a job at like a Fortune 500 company. Maybe they went to university and got their degree in whatever. They weren't sure what they're going to do with it, and all of a sudden, like their dream job shows up at their company, and it requires a bachelor's degree, and you're like, yes, I have it. So in that sense, it's very good too, right? And so like in all situations, there's pros and cons, right? But the scammy academic institution, that is interesting, because that guy Malcolm Gladwell, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but he's one of my favorite authors. I have some of his books back there. Outliers is a great book, and Blink too. But Malcolm Gladwell was, I think he released an article or something, and he was talking about how Ivy League universities, their cost to run the university or run the academic institution is like, I don't know, $2 billion. But the income that they're getting from all like the student loans and interest and all that type of stuff, it's like $4 billion, right? So even if the Ivy League school fired all their employees, made tuition cost zero for new students, and got rid of all their personnel, they would still make a profit based on all like the past interest payments from all the other previous students. And they're just like making like a massive amount of money. So they could make education free and they would still profit, right? Like that's how crazy the financial system is in the US. Now, Canada is fortunately not as bad. Our tuition costs aren't as severe, I guess, or as drastic as the US, but they're definitely getting there. So, these things that happen in America, they definitely affect Canada as well. And I'm learning so much more at work than I am learning at school. School is only theory. I also think that asking teenagers, what do you want to do for the rest of your life, is irresponsible. Yeah, it's like, ask a 16-year-old, what do you want to do the rest of your life? Good luck. Like, good luck to that 16-year-old having like an answer, right? Like, how are you supposed to know? Right? There's no way. Like, it took me until I was 32 to find out what I really wanted to do. 32. Like, if you were to ask 16-year-old me, like, what do you want to do? I'd be, I want to play basketball in StarCraft. Right? It's like, how are kids supposed to know? Like, how are they supposed to know? And it's tough too, because like kids need time, right, to develop. Like, their brain needs to develop, right? They need to figure out who they are. They need to figure out what their passions are. They need to figure out what they want to do in the world, right? These are incredibly difficult questions, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right, to this stuff. It's all sticky. It's all tricky. But definitely, like, learning on the job, or you're actually doing the thing you're studying, you for sure you learn way faster than that. Like, school, like you said, good for theory, right? Good for all like the terminology and reading and all the technical aspects of the job. But it's not until, but the other thing too, it's like, it's not until you actually do the job is when you find out if you really like it or not. Like, you can study about a certain subject all day long. You can read textbooks, you can read books, you can go to lectures, but it's not until you actually do the job in person that's when you find out if you like it or not, right? It's like, there's no other way around it, I feel like. But that's probably where, like, work, I don't know what you call it. In Canada, we call it co-op, where, say you have like a 4-year university degree, you can take one of those semesters and you work for a company that's related to your degree, and you get credits towards your degree or diploma. And we call it like a co-op period. And usually it's like 6 months, and you also do get paid. And that thing is, I think that is awesome for kids, right? Like, you say you're into, I don't know, accounting. Maybe you're studying to be an accountant, and maybe you have one semester where you go to an accounting firm and you actually do the taxes for people, or you actually do the trial balance sheets, right? And you do the work in a real setting, and then you'll really find out if you like it or not, right? Like, I feel like that is super beneficial for young people if they take a program, if there is an option, to work in the actual field, right? How the hell can you know what you want to do if the only thing you learn in high school is math, history, biology? Yeah. See, that's another thing too. It's like in high school, you're learning about, or at least what I learned was physics, chemistry, calculus, algebra. Like I was heavy into the maths, right? And you learn a little bit of world religion, but it's like, how does any of that stuff apply, right? They do give you clues towards what maybe you're good at. Like, say, for example, if you're someone that does really well in geography, history, English, writing, maybe there's some hints in there that maybe you want to be a journalist, or maybe you want to be an author or a writer or a blogger, like something to do with writing, right? And then maybe if you're in school and you really enjoy physics and biology and chemistry, maybe there's something in the sciences, or maybe you want to be a pharmacist or some type of doctor or something like that, right? Like, there's hints in the subjects, right? But again, those are only hints. Like, those aren't concrete leads that will guarantee a future that you enjoy or that you love, right? So it's so tricky, because those subjects are also beneficial too, because you want to become a well-rounded human being, right? Like, you want to have good mathematical skills, right? You want to have good communication, good vocabulary skills. You want to be able to obviously read, write, right? All these different types of things. You want to be well-rounded, right? Have a sense of the world, have an idea of geography and history, and what's happened in our past. So those subjects definitely help in becoming well-rounded. But the problem is, like, when you enter the workforce, you are rewarded for a specialization, right? Like in all the jobs that I've worked, right? No company or no boss I had cared about how well-rounded of a human being I was. They didn't care. All they cared about was, how good am I at this one specific task? How well can I do this one job, right? Like, that's what corporations are like, right? They want you to hyper focus on one thing, because at the end of the day, they want you to be productive. They want you to be super productive in the work that you do, especially now in the world of analytics. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like at my company that I work for, like, analytics are crazy. They're crazy. You can track everything, right? You can track how productive you are, how many emails you send, how many washroom breaks or lunch breaks or idle time you spend away from your computer. Like, that type of stuff is it's wild. It's wild. I don't know. Like this subject is so tough, like, to talk about, right? Because there's so many possibilities. There's so many circumstances. There's so many, like, different outcomes depending on the individual. So many different parameters, right? It's tricky, because I've got this question a lot from people where it's like, do you recommend do you recommend going to university? And sometimes, like, I say yes, sometimes I say no. Damn, they got Big Brother up in the workplace. Oh man, dude, George Orwell was ahead of his time, bro. George Orwell that guy's the man. I don't know if this happened to you, Red, but for me, I work at a Fortune 500 company, and a couple years ago I was in the office, and I hate I hate office politics and the bureaucracy that's there, and the ass kissing to climb the corporate ladder, and you got to backstab all your colleagues to one up each other, and a job opens up and everyone fights over it. It's just, ugh. I hate all that stuff. But the straw that broke the camel's back for me was this analytical report that we would get every week. And we'd have this like line graph, and it would chart your productivity based on the amount of hours you worked and the amount of like shipments you processed, right? And it would be like, oh, this week you're working at 94.7% efficiency, and you had like 8.5 hours of idle time. I'm like, 8.5 hours of idle time? Idle time? What the hell is that? So like I went and asked, like, what is idle time? It's like, every time you're away from your computer for more than 7 minutes, it counts all the seconds for how long you were idle. So it's like if you go to the washroom and like take a shit or something for, 10 minutes, or you go walk to the cafeteria and grab a drink, or you go talk to your coworker, your computer, it starts tracking you in terms of idle time. And now like my boss or supervisor, they would be like, oh, you spent 11.5 hours this week idle away from your computer. What were you doing? I'm like, I don't know, taking a piss, like having lunch. Like, I don't know what I was doing, getting a coffee, right? And it's like, there is this obsession now with analytics because of the technology that we had, right? And that's what really drove me nuts. Where I'm like, I got to get out of here. This is so stupid. I can't work in this stupid office environment where like my manager's like breathing down my neck 24/7, right? Like obsessing with productivity. And the problem too, it's like, oh, if you're only working at 94.7% production in relation to the rest of your team, then maybe you only deserve 94.7% of a raise, right? So instead of getting like the full $1 raise or whatever I would have got that year, it would be reduced based on like my productivity. And that type of stuff is terrible because you're treating human beings like robots. Like I felt like I was like a robot. Like I wasn't treated as a human. And what was even crazier, I even remember this too, like my email at work, it was 873477 at thecompany.com. Like it was a number. Like that's, our emails were numbers, and they were like our employee numbers. And I was employee number 870,000 something. Like that's how dehumanizing analytics makes, the work environment. And that stuff is terrible. It is terrible for human beings. Like it's almost like you're forgetting you're not even caring about the human condition anymore. You're not caring about people, right? Like we're people, we're not robots. Like this stuff it's crazy. Yeah, that's insane. I don't mind office work, but in terms of people watching over my back like that, I would have left too. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? But to play devil's advocate as well, there are benefits in that type of analytical tracking where you can find out who the real lazy people are. Like you can find out who are the dudes that are just leeching and just doing no work, right? Because in a system like that, you can't get away with slacking. Like you have to do the work. So in one sense, like it's dehumanizing, but in the other sense, the lazy people that leech and mooch and try to do the minimum, they get punished in a sense. So there are some pros and cons, I guess you would say, but I feel like those super lazy people, they are the vast minority. Right? I feel like most people, you go to work, everyone's there, they're doing stuff, right? Like when you're at work, the worst thing is when you have nothing to do because it's so boring. And then time just drags on so slow, and you're just like looking at the clock and you're waiting for 4:30 or 5 or whenever your shift is done. Like when you have nothing to do, your day drags and drags and drags, and it's terrible. Like I'd rather have some work to do to keep me busy, to keep my mind busy, than the day goes by faster, right? So like those super lazy people that just leech off the system, they're so few, right? There's so few in the grand scheme of things. I feel like it's not worth this obsession with tracking people, this obsession with analytics, just to like get that tiny minority group of people where the rest of us all have to suffer. So, but yeah, leaving, yeah, you would have left too. It's like, so what I did what most people think is crazy. Like I left the office to go on the road. So like I drive around now as a courier. Whereas all my coworkers now who are couriers, they're all trying to get off the road. They want to get away from the courier jobs and they want to get the office jobs, right? Like they don't want to be lifting stuff. They don't want to be outside in the weather. Whereas I did the opposite. I started in the office, because I have good computer skills, typing skills, or whatever it may be, right? And I transitioned from the office to outside. Like I went from white collar to blue collar, and people like thought I was crazy. But then I'm like, guys, like one road here, we're driving. It says you and your vehicle. There's no one looking over your shoulder. You don't have any boss, right? You're by yourself, and it's amazing. I get to work at my own pace, right? I get to listen to audiobooks or podcasts while I drive around, right? And I get a good workout in from lifting stuff. Like there's so many benefits from my point of view. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is like a perfect job for me, right? But the vast majority of people don't see it that way. Ernest Younger, did I say that right? Said, technology has ruined everything, even war. Technology has ruined everything, even war. Yeah, technology, it's such a slippery slope, right? Because like I love technology, right? I love cameras, I love phones, lenses, computers, like all this stuff. I love it all. Hold on, let me change the song. It's called Goth Christmas. There we go. For real though, we need a 3 to 4 day work week. This whole 40 hours thing is outdated as hell. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. You know what? I feel like a good system would be like a 5x6. Like 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 6 hours. And the reason I think 6 hours is because say you go into work from, 8 o'clock, and 6 hours you get off at 2. And maybe that way you can just go in, do your 6 hours, and then go home. Maybe you won't have to take like that mandatory lunch break in the middle. But also the other reason for that is because schools, or at least here in Canada, the school day is like 6.5, 7 hours, right? So if you're a parent and you drop your kid off at school, then you go to work. Your kid is going to be done school at 3 o'clock, but your 9 to 5 might not finish until 5, right? So then there's like that 2-hour window where there's no one to pick up your child from school. They have to go to like daycare, or it's like an after school program. And, but if you had like a 6-hour workday where the corporate world, maybe it'll switch from 9 to 5, it'll switch to like 9 to 3 or 8 to 2, right? Where now that will align up better with the elementary school schedule, right? And so like that's so much less stress on parents, and then wouldn't that make people happier, right? Or what you could do is say if you want to keep an 8-hour shift, but just do it 8x4, where you work 4 days a week, right? So you work Monday to Thursday, and then you get that third day off. So now you have 4 days. You work 4 days a week, and you have 3 days off. That would boost the happiness and mental health of so many workers, right? Like imagine just like a 30-hour 4-day work week, right? Like people would be so much happier, right? Like I don't know why, like where did this 40-hour a week idea come from? And it's just been here for eternity. Like it's always been Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's just been the standard for so long. It's like corporate. When you think of corporate operating hours or office hours, it's always 9 to 5. Everything is 9 to 5. Like even when I'm working as a courier and I'm driving around, from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock is like the most busiest for me, because all these companies are closing and they want to get all their packages out. So those 2 hours of my shift, I'm driving around, I'm picking stuff up. I'm going here, I'm going there. I'm going to this guy. This dude is closing early. Like there's all this like chaos, right? But after 5 o'clock, the 9 to 5 window is done. And then I'm just like chilling after that. There's so much less work for me, because that 40-hour a week corporate world, that they're closed. They're closed after 5. And normally I work until like 8 o'clock. And so I'm just like, I'm out there chilling, right? Which is nice. So in the beginning, I work really hard for those first couple hours, and after that, it's more relaxed. But I'm always like thinking, man, like, why has it always been like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? Yeah, like you said, it's outdated. It's such like an outdated concept. And even like in reality, say you compare 6 hours to 8, those last 2 hours, there is a point of diminishing returns with the type of work and quality of work that human beings can do. Like in the beginning, you have so much more energy, you have so much more focus, right? But after like 6 hours of work, how much do you really get done in those final 2 hours? I bet you it's nowhere close to as productive as the initial 2 hours or the initial 4, right? Like that's another thing you have to take into consideration, the diminishing returns of human beings, because again, we're not robots, right? So we can only dream. Yeah, bro, we can only dream. But also we can dream, and or at least what I'm trying to do is I'm dreaming and also trying to get away from that system the best I can. But the weird thing about trying to be an entrepreneur, I love this type of work. So like I'm trying to escape an 8-hour day because I want to do like a 12-hour day, right? Because like I love this type of work. Like I'd work 9 to 9 if it was just making YouTube videos and podcasts and streams. Like I would love to do 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. If it was this type of work, I'd crush it. It'd be so enjoyable, which is kind of interesting. Most likely not going to happen anytime soon. Meanwhile, we can maximize a ridiculous defense budget while the national debt is over 30. See, that drives me crazy. 30 trillion. Like when you get into like the amount of debt, we'll use the U.S. is the best example for this. Like printing money, inflation, trillions of dollars of debt. These are all concepts that, like, to be honest, I don't really understand. Like, I don't understand the, what do you call it? It's like national reserve. No, not national reserve. Treasury. Like there's like a corporation in the U.S. that they print the money, right? Is it the Federal Reserve? Oh man, my brain is struggling. I feel like it's a Federal Reserve, but whatever. Like the institution that prints all the money, right? And it's like you have to keep incurring more debt to keep the economy going, and just, oh man, I don't get it. It's like when I see $30 trillion in debt, it just blows my mind. Oh, okay, it is Federal Reserve. Okay, yeah, it's like, it's wild, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. There's because I don't know what, I'm pretty sure the US, they had another interest rate hike recently, and Canada, we're going through this as well, and it's tough, dude. It's money's getting super tight. Right, with cost of living, inflation, and all that type of stuff. 30 trillion. Whom the hell they owe it to? Thanos. Who do they owe it to? Thanos. Holy shit. They owe it to Thanos? Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Hey, I hope you guys are doing okay financially. Red, Batiste. I hope everything's. Hope you guys are doing okay and not cost of living is not crushing you. Inflation. This is a tough times, man. These are tough. When I think about like rent, mortgages, gas, groceries, food, taxes, insurance, like just cost of living, man. Sometimes I wonder like how do people get by? Like it's crazy. Like, you know what we do? My wife bought a printer. And you can't see it. We have a printer back there, and we like she prints out coupons, and we have to go to stores, and we'll buy stuff that's on sale, and she'll stack it with the coupon that she found online, or buy things that have like are on clearance, or there's like some special deals. Like it's like that's what you have to do nowadays to survive, right? Things are so expensive. We most likely owe China and Saudi Arabia the most. Oh man. I don't know how I feel about China. China's a wild country. With all their like protests and COVID lockdowns and restrictions and social credit score, and that's a wild place. Well, there's crime, but that's last resort. Oh, definitely last resort. Dear YouTube, I don't support crime. Bro, don't get banned, bro. Don't get banned. Or don't get canceled. Isn't that sad? That you have to explain when you're making a joke in fear of getting canceled. You know what's wild, Red? In Canada, like we don't have, I believe it's First Amendment rights that you guys have, freedom of speech. Like we don't have that here. If you're a comedian and you go to a comedy club and you say something on stage and there's a person in the audience who feels extremely insulted or they have like a problem with what you say, or maybe you talk about a sensitive subject or issue, you can get sued. Like you can like legit get sued for what you say as a comedian on stage in a comedy club. That's a tough it's a tough reality that we have to live with here. Yes, it is good. In France, in certain companies, we have the 13th month. 13th month. I am well paid and I am glad that my hobbies are not very expensive. Get in red, we need to cook. Oh. 13th month. Yeah, I'm good off Canada. Y'all need help. Oh, dude. Oh. Canada drives me nuts. It's like I don't want to be negative because it's so easy to just be negative and complain about, oh, we do this poorly and we don't have this and we don't have that. Like that's not a good perspective to have, right? It's like a toxic perspective where you only think of the negative. I should preface this by saying like there's lots of benefits, to living in Canada too. It's very safe here. It's generally pretty safe. We don't have a wild gun problem or school shooting problem. Like we do have gun violence as well, but it's not as rampant or as wild as other countries. Healthcare, generally pretty good. If I break my leg and I call an ambulance, I don't get a massive medical bill. Our OHIP, our Ontario health coverage, we have like health cards that covers that basic costs. So yeah, life is generally pretty good here in Canada. Like there's lots of benefits, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to things like freedoms, right? Our lack of freedoms here in this country is very scary. A lot of my friends, colleagues, and coworkers, they don't think it's a big deal, right? But in my opinion, I think it is. Man, I don't know. It bothers me sometimes, because I'm someone who's I feel like freedom of speech is very, very important to have. I wish we had it more. What? 13th month in France, you get a double salary in November or... Really? No way. Yeah, right. France, 13th month? Many companies in France pay their workers a bonus known as the 13th month. This 13th month salary is intended to help French workers pay their taxes, and depending on the company, it can be disbursed annually in December or January, or at intervals, with some being paid in June. What? Bro. Are you serious? That is so crazy. Wow. Dude, that's wild. 13. Bro, I wish we had a 13th month salary. For sure, to be honest, I envy the healthcare system. The bills in here in the States are crazy. An ambulance ride is at least $1,000. Yeah, see, that's like what happens if you're riding your bike and you go over a rock and then you fall and you smash your elbow on the concrete, or I don't know, something like you break your knee or your leg and you can't walk and you have to call an ambulance. You're going to get $1,000 ambulance bill. Like what if you're, I don't know, what if you're like poor, or what if you're lower middle class and you don't have any savings? Like what if you're living paycheck to paycheck? How are you going to pay for that medical bill? Like that seems kind of fucked, right? But also, to be fair, again, I like to play devil's advocate here. People say Canada has free healthcare because if I were to call it ambulance, I wouldn't get a bill for it. But we have a lot higher taxes on our income and our job and all that type of stuff that goes towards hospitals and what would you call it? The health care industry, right? So technically, our healthcare is not free. We do pay for it upfront in the form of taxation. But man, I feel like if you're just unlucky, right, and you break a leg or something, you got to pay like an ambulance, like that. That seems kind of rough to me. You know, I wish we could take the good things in America and take the good things in Canada and kind of merge them, right? Like find a way to take obviously, see again, that's probably unrealistic because you're just being overly optimistic. But I wish there was a way you could take like the best things and put them together, right? I don't know. Viva la France. I was supposed to earn 1,600 euros in November and I earned 3,000. Holy bro, damn, 3,200 euros. What is that in Canadian? Euros to Canadian. Okay, 3,200 euros is 4,600 Canadian. Damn, dude, you're killing it. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Work harder and you can pay it off. Yeah. You know, like, that's another thing we can, like, I know it's, like, it's good to, Like I don't know how to put this. Because like Canada, in a sense, is like a little bit too socialist. Like we're obsessed with like giving away stuff. Or we can annex Canada. I don't know, man. I have a love-hate relationship with this country. We had like wild COVID laws and restrictions and mask mandates, and again, I don't want to talk about this stuff because like you get YouTube, oh, you're gonna get ban you or censor this stream or something. I don't know. It's like these are sensitive issues to talk about, right? But like I've had friends, a couple of my friends, they moved to the US. They legit like got up out of here and moved to the US. That's all I'm gonna say about that. My mom was doing her first sessions of is that chemotherapy? Oh man. In France, we paid nothing, but if we lived in America, we would have 40,000 euros. Oh man. See, like it's such a tough. Like these are all like such difficult subjects to talk about, right? Like, do I think healthcare should be free? Well, probably not, because like who's gonna pay for it, right? But I feel like those freak accidents, right, where it's like nothing you can do or it's out of your control, it's like maybe those type of medical expenses can be covered, whereas any of the extra ones or the like maybe elective surgeries, those cost more. I don't know. Like I'm sure there's a system that we could make that would work better for society. Yeah, man, there's already talks of bringing back the mandates in Cali. Luckily, most people aren't having it, even those most cautious folks. Oh yeah. See, like California is fairly liberal, right? Like California is always a blue state, a democratic, right? I get confused because in Canada the colors are reversed. In here, blue is conservative and red is liberal over here. So the colors are inverted. But yeah, I feel like Toronto is just like California, super liberal. We're already talking about more mandates, and I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. Like I had to show proof of vaccination to take my daughter to her play group class every week. I had to show proof of vaccination to security guards to sit at a food court in the mall to eat food. And if you weren't vaccinated, you would have to sit on the floor, right, just beside the food court in the mall to eat your food. Like that's what was happening here. You'd have like a food court, they would wall it off, it'd be blocked off in the middle of the mall, and there'd be security guards checking everyone's vaccination. So they could, like you could go to the Taco Bell or KFC or whatever, buy your food, but if you wanted to sit down and eat it in the same space, you had to show proof of vaccination to sit and eat. If you didn't, you would sit on the floor right beside them and you could just eat your food on the floor. And when I went to the mall, it was so crazy. Like I'm like, what are we doing? This is like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. We're all breathing the same air. We're in the same building, but you can't sit down on the table, but these people can. Like, what are we doing here? Like stuff like that. It's like, it's not backed by science. It's not backed by anything. Like what is that? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And that type of stuff in the Canadian government, that's what's that just drives me batshit crazy. Because if they bring that back, like I don't even know what to say anymore, bro. I don't even know what to do. In all honesty, I am just hoping we're just done. I hope we're done with all this stuff. Like COVID was unfortunate thing. The pandemic sucked. Lots of people lost their lives. Lots of businesses, small business owners, they lost their jobs, they lost their businesses. Lots of restaurants had to close. But, Walmart got to stay open. Walmart was business as usual. So that's kind of messed up as well, right? So I don't know. It looks like a weird social experiment. Yeah, man. Like, I bet you any money a couple years from now, when we look back at this time, Canada and I think Australia are probably going to be like the laughing stock of this time period. Like the restrictions and regulations that we imposed on our citizens is just going to look so foolish. It's going to look so stupid. Everyone's going to look back and laugh, right? They're just going to be like, what were you guys doing? Like, what kind of stupidity was that? So, I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. Because this is also coming from someone, like, again, I'm not educated at all in the slightest when it comes to healthcare or any of this stuff. I don't know anything. I have no qualifications to talk about this stuff. But just seeing, like, people in the same building, some get to sit at a table and eat their food while others have to sit on the floor and eat their food, and we're in the same space, breathing the same air. That just, like, from a common sense standpoint, like, I don't see how that's good for anybody. It just makes no sense to me. So I don't know, bro. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm going to probably end the stream soon. I think I'm liking these a little bit shorter streams, maybe like hour and a half-ish. Because before I'd always go like 2 hours or longer. I would like to do more streams. Maybe like a 1.5 hours, maybe weekly if I could every once in a while. But we'll see. What else is going on? So for the rest of December, I have one more YouTube video that I'm working on. I'll have maybe one more live stream at the end of the year, hopefully on the 31st. But we'll see. Sorry for my bad English. No, Batiste, your English is great. Sorry for my bad French, bro. I can't speak any languages. I'm gonna contact you on Insta about the podcast. Yeah, Kevin, reach out, bro. Reach out. I'm always down to have a conversation. Just let me know. I think you were saying next year, right? In January. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's end the podcast there. Red, Batiste, Kevin, Brian, and anyone else who showed up, or whoever's watching the replay of this live stream, I just want to say, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all the best to you guys and your family, whatever holiday you celebrate in your religion or family. I wish all you guys the best. Hopefully everything goes well in your life, all good health to you and all your family, and I hope that 2022 was a great year, and that 2023 will be a better one. And this is going to be a year that I'm going to reflect on and really think deeply about how I can become a better person in the new year, right? Become a better human being, be more compassionate, be more knowledgeable, be more caring, and to just be like, a better creator, right? Better content creator, and just share this journey of doing what I love, right? So I have a lot of plans in the new year. I hope you guys show up for the next stream or whatever else is going on, because I just love this stuff. And hopefully in time we can grow this community. And I know we touched on the topic of community and tribes a lot. I feel like there's going to be big things in store for us in 2023. I think we're doing this the right way, and I just love this community that we have. So Merry Christmas to all you guys. Happy holidays.